Good evening, and thank you for joining me here this evening at Word on the Curb. Welcome back. Remember to hydrate, eat fruit, moisturize your feet, hands, and face, and mind your business. That's so important. A lot of people ask me what brings me to podcasting and coaching. My name is Annette, and I am your host here at Word on the Curb. And a lot of people often ask what brings me here. Well, I have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas. Cumulative, if you will, in that they are have presented through college, through work, through life experiences, marriage, kids, and baby carriage, and all that other good stuff. And I've actually worked in a lot of the areas that I speak to. And so I've been mentoring since I was 14 and perhaps even younger. But I've been mentoring for a long time. And here's what I know for sure: people given a fair opportunity makes all the difference in the world. How do I know? I'm a kid who was given a fair opportunity. I'm a kid from the neighborhood. And I say that often. I don't pretend to be anything I'm not. I don't pretend to have things that I don't have. I don't pretend. I'm not a pretender. It is what it is. What you see is pretty much what you get. And over the years, I've learned a few things. And so, Word on the Curb is about sharing some of those experiences and getting you guys on live to share some of yours. So, here's one of the things I want to tell you tonight before we get started. Again, I'm Annette. See me on Facebook at the Black Girls Locker Room, at What Trenton Really Makes, at Word on the Curb, and on YouTube at Word on the Curb Studios. Studio, not S, studio. And soon, as I shared, there's some good things coming and you'll see us in a lot of other places. Until then, stay tuned on these channels, YouTube included. Hit the like, subscribe, and share button on YouTube and ring the bell. It makes the difference for us who are podcasting. And for those of you who are interested in podcasting, hit me up because you don't have to be famous to do it. What I would encourage is that you talk about things you know about and that you've experienced. Don't talk about being a lawyer if you haven't been a lawyer or had some classes in law that give you the basics. You come off as a fraud when you do that. So, just a friendly heads up. That being said, tonight our topic is about families and the pieces of the puzzles of that. Now, I've shared this often. I'll continue to share it. And it is my experience, strength, and hope, and what I know about having served families for over 40 years and been, a, been in a family myself, a big family. So it's experience, strength, and hope that I bring you. And here's what I want you to know. There are a lot of things that are good that are passed down from one generation to the next. A lot of good things, right? And then there are a lot of bad things that are passed down from one generation to the next. Uh, Combative behavior. If you see it from the time you're a toddler, it's what you know. If your parents saw it in their household, it's what they know. Alcoholism is a disease. And by any means necessary, we have to do what we need to do to help our family members recover from drugs and alcohol. But a lot of that is passed down where they see folks drinking all the time, everywhere. Here's a big one that a lot of people deny and try to act as if it never existed: incest. There's a lot of incest in families, and it doesn't just apply to any particular culture or race of people. There's a lot of incest, and it happens. There's a lot of abuse, and it happens. And so, what we often refer to as generational curses are simply accumulated experiences that are cumulative in effect and on a person of things that their ancestors did, believed, or practiced in the past, and a consequence of those actions, beliefs, and sins being passed down. So let's talk about the pieces of the puzzle and families and how that fits in, because there's a lot of good stuff passed down, and there's a lot of stuff that we need to leave right where it is. That's right, exactly where it is. Breaking generational curses that exist in all cultures and or passing down the good thing from generations exists in all cultures too. And we have to know the difference between what's good and what's bad. And in doing that, I would encourage you strongly to do your own homework. There are a lot of people who go, I had a great childhood. We didn't have any drama at all. So you were just a lever to beaver family in every single situation, ignoring rape, ignoring incest, ignoring abuse, ignoring alcoholism, ignoring drugs, ignoring combative behavior, and or mental illness. Yeah, ignoring all of that. And then sometimes we get so caught up in those generational curses that we forget all the good stuff that happened too. And a lot of good stuff happened for many of us, but none of us, no matter how much we pretend, had perfect families. None of us. And in recognizing that, one of the things we come to terms with is who we are and where we come from. And when you don't know who you are and where you come from, you tend to repeat the bad stuff. Yeah, you do. You tend to repeat it. And so, no family is perfect. And here's what I want you to know: families are connected by blood. The bond in families is the love, the support, the respect, the confidence, and the trust. Now, that second piece is sometimes missing. And here's what I want you to know: it's missing in a lot of families, it's not just yours. And when it impacts you to the extent the lack of support, love, trust, and confidence, you're pulling down and dragging with you generational curses, because it doesn't have to be that way. At some point in time, and in every family, you can always break that curse. You can always break that chain, whatever it is. You could have an uncle that's extremely combative because that might be all he knew, or even an aunt for that matter. I'm sorry, allergies. But the deal is, will you keep repeating that behavior? Will you keep doing the bad things that we've always done because it's what you're used to? Or will you do something different and pull down some of that good stuff too? Because in every family, there's good and bad. Yep. And I said it and I'm going to say it again. In a lot of families, there's a lot of other stuff too. Denying it won't change it. And so, drink your water, eat your fruit, mind your business, and learn about who you are, what you are, and where you come from. And in doing that, one of the things you do is help yourself grow. You help yourself grow. I think I have folks who are trying to tell me that perhaps they cannot hear me. Hold on and let me check it. And we will go from there. Just give me 1 second. Technical difficulties are sometimes as bad as my allergies. So just stay tuned for 1 second while we check sound. Something we did prior to coming on, and something we did prior to coming on. Okay, it is working. The sound is working. And so, generational curses are real. Dysfunctional families are real. Good and bad in every family is real. When the bad outweighs the good, you have to determine where you're going to be in that. For example, if you're in a family and incest was present and you continue to stay in that and sometimes practice it yourself, you're part of the problem. Because at any point in time, you can break the generational curse. If alcoholism is a long trait in your family, and it is a disease based on, scientists and doctors and those who know more than me, you can break that curse too. There's help for you out there. It's called recovery. And recovery is not just about not drinking or drugging. It's about recovering from the things that hurt you. Because drugs and alcohol are simply symptoms of the problem. The problem is the things that hurt us. Recovery is possible and it's available to all if it's what you want. I think we do ourselves a disservice when, no, I know we do. And this is just based on experience of having served families in Mercer County for over 40 years and being a family member myself. We do ourselves a disservice when we deny that we have curses that we need to break. And when those curses outweigh all the good stuff, you have to make a determination about where you're going to be in it. Where are you going to be in it? What are you going to do? The pieces of the puzzle is a very eclectic, mixed bag of people who won't always get along, and that's okay. You don't always have to get along, all right? But you do have to treat people with respect. Family, friends, and foe. Treat them with respect. And sometimes people feel disrespected simply because you refuse to buy into their madness. That's not disrespect. That's called self-care. There's a difference, and a lot of people don't know the difference. Refusing to buy in to madness, to absolute unadulterated chaos on a regular basis doesn't mean you think you're better. It doesn't mean you're difficult. It means that you are breaking generational curses and practicing self-care. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to do that. Practice self-care. Take care of yourself. Put an end to the things that hurt you and or your family members. Stop it. I grew up in very humble beginnings, and that's the word we use for when you were poor. Very humble beginnings. And one of the things my mother encouraged us to do was to do better than she did. She encouraged that. And so that was my goal, to do better. Not be better, but do better. And she encouraged us all to go beyond high school and get an education. And for me, she insisted on an HBCU. Best thing she could have done for me. Because it allowed me to see people like me getting the job done. And that's important for us. In many instances, when we're working to do something different, doesn't mean you're better, just means you're doing something different. And you're breaking curses that didn't work for you and building on the good stuff that did. Because there's good and bad. Don't forget that. That's important tonight. You don't remember anything else. Remember that. There are no perfect families. And the more, you know how you want to know? See, this doesn't take a genius to figure out. The more people brag about how great their family was and they never had trouble, they are typically the ones who had the most trouble. Mm-hmm. They are typically the ones who are in denial about who they are and where they come from. And again, you'll find that in some families, denial is how they operate. The reality of my life has been dealing with the reality of my life. The reality of who I am is never forgetting where I came from. The reality of recognizing that my family is not perfect and neither am I is the reality of living life on life's terms. The pieces of the puzzle may not always fit squarely in, but I want you to remember this too. There's good and bad in your family, your closest family, sometimes will not always be those that you're connected to by blood. Sometimes your closest family will show up in the form of people who love you, who support you, who stand with you, who respect you, and who trust you, and you can trust them. Sometimes your family will show up in that form, and it won't necessarily be a blood connection. Doesn't mean you let the other family go, but it means that you recognize where your love and support and trust comes from. That's important. Sometimes your best friend is closer than your family. Sometimes the people that you trust and know and love are closer to you than the family you're connected to by blood. That's a reality. I didn't make that up. Look it up. I always tell you, do your own homework. But you got to know who you are. You have to know where you come from. You have to know. You have to know. Denying it won't change it. And the more you deny it, the deeper you drown in one form or another. People who brag all the time are typically people who suffer low confidence. Look it up. I'm not making it up. Look it up. People who brag all the time typically suffer low confidence. People who brag all the time are really not used to having anything. They're used to pretending that they have. And a lot of them go broke trying to impress broke people. I've been broke before. I know you guys haven't. I've been broke. I've lived in a studio apartment before. Yep, right after college for a long time. I know most of you have always had what you're where you're at now, or so you like to believe, or you want us to believe. But we all have to build, and that's my point. That's the point I'm making, and that's the discussion I'm having. We all have to build. We all have to do better. We all have to work to encourage one another in our families, whether it's the family by blood and all the other things to support the love and the trust, or it's the family that we have come to know, respect, and be a part of that loves, respects, supports, and there's trust. Wherever your family is, be in it. I'm not discouraging you from being with your bloodline. When and where that's possible, is safe, there's love, there's support, and there's trust, you do that. And when there's not, you go somewhere and find a mentor who can help you get to a circle where those needs can be provided. See, they're not optional, they're needs. Everybody needs to be supported, everybody needs to be loved, everybody needs to be in a position where there's trust and confidence. We need that. That's like, human basic needs, aside from food, water, and light, right? So the pieces of the puzzle won't always fit. As long as you know where those pieces are and how to reach around and get the pieces that do fit, you're going to be all right. Every little thing's going to be all right. Take care of yourself and practice self care. And don't let anybody convince you that you have to stay in a situation that hurts you because it's a bloodline. Don't do that. It's not worth it. And so, again, my name is Annette. Thank you for joining me here this evening. You got a bloodline, and then you have a line that the bloodline may include all of the things you need. But when it does not, don't drown trying to rescue others. Throw them a life preserver. That's what they encourage. Throw them a life preserver. You know, the family member who's suffering, drugs, alcohol, or mental illness, throw the support line out there. Give them something to hold on to. Doesn't have to be your neck to pull you down. Remember that. My name is Annette. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're going to be on a lot of other channels. We're working on building and providing access to wherever you are and podcasts are too. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope I'll see you again soon. Remember, bloodline that comes with support, love, trust, and confidence, and all that other good stuff. It won't be perfect. Don't look for perfection. It doesn't exist. In spite of all the perfect families out here, who are just lovey-dovey and doing great every single day and nothing's wrong, in spite of those showing up on social media, because social media is Hollywood, showing up and acting as if everything is great all the time. No, you don't come on social media and tell your business, but stop lying about perfect families and perfect days. People are out here losing hope because, we can't be honest about things. Give them something to hold on to. Give them hope. Let them know that no family is perfect, but finding the love, support, trust, and confidence that you need is out there. It is. I mean, really out there. There's a circle of people who want the same things you want. Join that circle. That's called the winning circle. Whether it's by blood or association. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Okay? Don't worry about perfection. Nobody has it. Not on this earth. Nobody. I don't care how good it looks. And don't go broke trying to impress broke people. Okay? Because those who really have money don't spend money on a whole bunch of junk. They get the good stuff and they stick with it. Remember that. That applies to relationships too. Have a good evening and thanks for joining us here at Word on the Curve. We appreciate you.